The baby's scream pierced through the marble hallway like a siren. "Please, Elise, please stop crying," Keisha whispered desperately, bouncing her 11-month-old daughter against her hip. Sweat beaded on her forehead as she tried to soothe the wailing child. "Mama's gotta work, baby girl. Please." But Elise only screamed louder, her tiny fists clenched, her face scrunched up and red with fury. The other cleaners in the hallway shot Keisha nervous glances before quickly looking away. "You need to control that child," Mrs. Chun hissed, the head housekeeper's eyes darting toward the double doors at the end of the corridor. "If he hears—" I know. Keisha's heart hammered against her ribs. She'd only been working at this mansion for 3 weeks. 3 weeks of scrubbing floors in one of Seoul's most dangerous households. 3 weeks of keeping her head down and her mouth shut. 3 weeks of pretending she didn't know exactly who Tae-hyun Choi was. "The nanny called in sick this morning," Keisha explained, her voice shaking. "I had nobody to watch her. I thought I could keep her quiet." "Thought wrong," Mrs. Chun snapped. "Do you have any idea what kind of man?" The double doors exploded open. Every person in that hallway froze. Tae-hyun Choi stood in the doorway like a storm made flesh. 6 feet of controlled violence wrapped in a perfectly tailored black suit. His jaw was clenched so tight Keisha could see the muscle twitching. His eyes, cold, dark, absolutely merciless, swept across the frozen staff members. "Who," he said quietly, "is making that noise?" His voice was soft, terrifyingly soft. Keisha's blood turned to ice. Elise continued to scream, oblivious to the danger, her little body shaking with the force of her cries. I asked a question. Tae-hyun took 1 step forward. Just one. But it felt like the temperature in the hallway dropped 20 degrees. It's mine, sir," Keisha forced out, her voice barely a whisper. "My daughter. I'm so sorry. The nanny. Bring her here." Keisha's knees nearly buckled. "Sir." I don't repeat myself. Every survival instinct Keisha possessed screamed at her to run, to grab Elise and sprint out of this mansion and never look back. But her feet moved forward instead, carrying her and her screaming baby toward the most feared man in Seoul's underground. The other staff members scattered like roaches when light hits them. Keisha stopped 3 feet away from Tae-hyun, her arms wrapped protectively around Elise. Up close, she could see the scar running along his left cheekbone, could see the absolute absence of warmth in his expression. "I'm sorry," she said again, hating how her voice trembled. "I'll leave right now." "How old?" Keisha blinked. "What?" "The child. How old is she?" 11 months, sir." Tae-hyun's eyes dropped to Elise, who was still crying, her face buried against Keisha's shoulder. For a long moment, he just stared. His expression didn't change, didn't soften. Then he did something that made Keisha's world tilt sideways. He reached out his hand. "Don't." The word burst from Keisha before she could stop it. She immediately took a step back, clutching Elise tighter. "I'm sorry, sir, but she doesn't like strangers. She doesn't let anyone hold her. Not even my mother. She just screams louder if." Tae-hyun's hand remained extended, patient, waiting. "Please," Keisha tried again. "She'll just—" Elise's head popped up from Keisha's shoulder. The crying stopped. Just stopped. Keisha felt her daughter's body shift, felt those tiny hands reaching out, grabbing toward Tae-hyun like he was a lifeline instead of a man who'd allegedly killed 17 people with his bare hands. "No, baby, no." Keisha tried to hold on, but Elise was squirming now, lunging toward this stranger with an urgency that made absolutely no sense. "Let her go," Tae-hyun said quietly. "Sir, I don't think." "Let her go." Keisha's arms loosened despite every instinct screaming otherwise. And Elise, her baby girl who screamed when her own grandmother tried to hold her, who couldn't even tolerate the pediatrician touching her without a complete meltdown, practically threw herself into Tae-hyun Choi's arms. The silence that followed was deafening. Tae-hyun stood there, this man who commanded an empire built on fear and blood, with an 11-month-old baby girl clinging to his neck. Elise's tiny fists gripped his expensive suit jacket, her cheek pressed against his shoulder, her body relaxed completely, utterly trusting. And Tae-hyun. His expression cracked. Just for a second. Just long enough for Keisha to see something that looked almost like shock flash across his face before the mask slammed back down. She's calm, he observed, his voice oddly neutral. Keisha couldn't speak. Couldn't process what she was seeing. Her brain simply refused to accept it. If you're as shocked as Keisha right now, drop a comment below. What do you think is happening here? Keisha swallowed hard. Yes, sir. I don't understand. She never. What's her name? Elise. Tae-hyun adjusted his hold on the baby slightly, supporting her more securely. Elise made a small, contented sound and closed her eyes. She was falling asleep, in a mafia boss's arms. In under 30 seconds. Sir, Mrs. Chen's voice cracked from somewhere down the hallway. Your meeting. The Busan representatives are waiting. Reschedule it. Sir. I said reschedule it. Tae-hyun's voice cut like a blade, but he didn't raise it. Didn't disturb the sleeping child in his arms. His eyes found Keisha's. You. What's your name? Keisha, sir. Keisha Williams. American. Yes, sir. I moved here 18 months ago. I was studying at Yonsei University before she stopped herself. He didn't need her life story. Tae-hyun studied her for a long moment. Keisha forced herself to hold his gaze even though every cell in her body wanted to look away. The father, he asked. Keisha's jaw tightened. Not in the picture. By choice. Does it matter? The corner of Tae-hyun's mouth twitched. Almost a smile. Not quite. You have a spine. Interesting. He looked down at Elise again, something unreadable flickering across his face. The baby slept on, completely peaceful, completely safe in the arms of Seoul's most dangerous man. Follow me, Tae-hyun said, turning back toward his office. Sir, That wasn't a request. Keisha's feet moved automatically, following him through those double doors into an office that probably cost more than she'd make in her entire lifetime. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked Seoul's glittering skyline. Mahogany furniture. Original artwork on the walls. And, in the corner, something that made Keisha's breath catch. A bulletproof glass case containing at least a dozen handguns. Sit, Tae-hyun commanded, gesturing to a leather chair. Keisha sat. She watched completely bewildered as this man, this dangerous, cold-blooded man, carefully, almost tenderly, shifted Elise in his arms to sit down behind his massive desk without waking her. Explain to me, he said quietly, why you thought bringing an infant into my home was acceptable. My nanny had a family emergency, Keisha said, fighting to keep her voice steady. I called everyone I know. Everyone. Nobody could watch her on such short notice. And I needed this job, sir. I'm 3 months behind on rent. The landlord's threatening to evict us. I thought if I could just keep her quiet. You thought you could hide a baby in my mansion. Yes, sir. Foolish. Yes, sir. And desperate. Keisha lifted her chin. Very. Tae-hyun's eyes narrowed slightly, but again, that ghost of something that might have been amusement crossed his face. You're not afraid of me. I'm terrified of you, Keisha corrected. But I'm more afraid of being homeless with a baby. Honesty. Also interesting. He glanced down at Elise, whose little fist had wrapped around his tie. She's trusting. She's never trusted anyone before, Keisha admitted. Not like this. I don't understand it. Neither do I. They sat in strange silence for a moment. Keisha watched this feared mafia boss cradling her daughter like she was made of glass. Watched him unconsciously adjust his hold when Elise shifted. Watched something in his expression soften in a way she suspected very few people ever witnessed. Smash that like button if you need to know what happens next. Sir, Keisha ventured carefully. May I have her back? I should. No. Keisha froze. No. She's calm. Why would I disturb that? Tae-hyun leaned back in his chair, seemingly completely unbothered by the fact that he was holding a sleeping infant during what should have been a business meeting. Tell me about yourself. Sir. Your story. Why are you in Seoul cleaning houses when you were studying at one of the country's top universities? Keisha hesitated. This felt like a trap. Everything about this situation felt like a trap. But those dark eyes demanded an answer. I got pregnant, she said simply. My boyfriend, Elise's father, didn't take it well. Told me to get rid of it or he'd get rid of me. I refused. He left. Cut me off completely. My scholarship covered tuition, but not living expenses, especially not with a baby. I had to drop out. Started cleaning houses because it was the only work I could get without a degree and with flexible hours. The father is Korean? American. Military. He was stationed here temporarily. Keisha's voice hardened. He went back to the States 3 months before Elise was born. Changed his number. Blocked me on everything. His name. Why? His name, Tae-hyun repeated, and this time there was something sharp in his voice. Something dangerous. Keisha shook her head. I don't want him dead, sir. I just want him gone. Those aren't mutually exclusive. They are to me. Tae-hyun stared at her for a long moment. Then, inexplicably, he smiled. Actually smiled. It transformed his entire face. Made him look almost human instead of like a beautiful monster. You're protecting a man who abandoned you and your child, he said. Why? Because Elise doesn't need a dead father. She needs a mother who isn't a murderer. The smile faded. I see. May I have my daughter back now, sir? I'll leave. I understand you'll need to fire me. You're not fired. Keisha blinked. I'm not. No. Tae-hyun stood up carefully, still cradling Elise. He walked around the desk and, with infinite care, transferred the sleeping baby back into Keisha's arms. Elise stirred slightly, but didn't wake. In fact, your circumstances are about to change significantly. I don't understand. You will. Tae-hyun returned to his desk and pressed a button on his phone. Seo-jun. Come to my office. Within seconds, the door opened. A man entered, tall, lean, with sharp features and eyes that missed nothing. He took one look at Keisha, holding the baby, and his eyebrows shot up. Boss. This is Keisha Williams and her daughter Elise, Tae-hyun said. Effective immediately. Keisha is no longer part of the cleaning staff. Keisha's stomach dropped. Sir. She's my new personal assistant. The room went silent. Seo-jun's jaw actually dropped. You're what? You heard me. Tae-hyun's voice was calm, matter-of-fact, as if he hadn't just said something absolutely insane. Keisha needs employment that accommodates her daughter. I need someone who isn't afraid to speak honestly to me. It's an efficient arrangement. Boss, with all due respect, Seo-jun started. Is there a problem? The temperature in the room plummeted again. Seo-jun immediately shut his mouth and shook his head. No, sir. No problem. Good. Tae-hyun's eyes found Keisha's. Your salary will be 15 million won per month. The apartment above the garage is vacant. You and Elise will move in tomorrow. Childcare will be provided on-site. You'll work standard business hours. Your responsibilities will include managing my schedule, screening communications, and attending meetings as needed. Keisha couldn't breathe. 15 million won. That was more than 10,000 US dollars per month. Sir, I can't. You can and you will. Something flickered in his expression. Consider it payment for something your daughter has reminded me of. What's that? Tae-hyun looked at Elise, still sleeping peacefully in Keisha's arms. When he spoke again, his voice was barely above a whisper. That not everyone sees a monster when they look at me. Stay tuned for what happens next. Subscribe so you don't miss the next part of this incredible story. Keisha didn't sleep that night. How could she? 24 hours ago, she was scrubbing toilets and dodging eviction notices. Now she was sitting in a luxury apartment with marble countertops and a view of the Han River, watching Elise sleep in a brand new crib that probably cost more than Keisha's entire life savings. This is crazy, she whispered to herself. This is absolutely crazy. Her phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. Be ready at 8 a.m. Seo-jun will brief you on your duties. Dress professionally. TC. Tae-hyun Choi had her number. The Mafia boss had her personal phone number. Keisha's hands shook as she typed back, yes, sir. 3 dots appeared. Then disappeared. Then appeared again. The baby. She slept well. Keisha stared at her phone like it had grown a second screen. Was Seoul's most feared crime lord really asking about her daughter's sleep schedule? Yes, sir. She's been out for 3 hours. That's a record. Good. That was it. Just good. But something about that single word made Keisha's chest feel strange. Drop a comment if you think something deeper is going on here. The next morning came too fast. Keisha dressed in the only professional outfit she owned. A simple black dress she'd bought secondhand for university presentations. She did her makeup carefully, twisted her hair into a neat bun, and tried to look like someone who belonged in a Mafia boss's inner circle. She failed spectacularly. You look terrified, Tae-hyun observed when he arrived at exactly 8 a.m. He handed her a tablet and a sleek black phone. That's normal. Everyone's terrified of him at first. At first. Keisha adjusted Elise on her hip. When does that stop? It doesn't. You just get better at hiding it. Tae-hyun's expression softened slightly when he looked at Elise. The boss arranged for a nanny. She'll be here in 10 minutes. Former intelligence officer, trained in child safety and security. Your daughter will be safer than the president's kids. Why is he doing this? Keisha asked quietly. None of this makes sense. Tae-hyun studied her for a long moment. The boss doesn't explain himself. But I've worked for him for 8 years, and I've never seen him react to anyone the way he reacted to your daughter yesterday. Whatever she did, whatever he saw in her. He shook his head. It changed something. Before Keisha could respond, the doorbell rang. The nanny was a woman in her 50s with kind eyes and the posture of someone who could probably kill you with a chopstick. Her name was Ms. Huang, and within 5 minutes, Elise was giggling in her arms like they'd known each other forever. She's precious, Ms. Huang said warmly. We'll have a wonderful day together. Don't worry about a thing. Keisha's throat tightened. She doesn't usually. I know. Tae-hyun briefed me. But children sense energy, and right now, your baby feels safe here. That's all that matters. Safe. In a Mafia compound. The irony wasn't lost on Keisha. Tae-hyun's office was exactly as she remembered, intimidating, expensive, and somehow cold despite the morning sunlight streaming through the windows. He stood by those windows now, phone pressed to his ear, speaking rapid Korean in a voice that could freeze hell. He looked up when she entered, held up one finger. Wait. Keisha waited. If those shipments aren't in Busan by Friday, Tae-hyun said into the phone, his voice dropping to something deadly. I'll personally ensure you spend the rest of your very short life regretting it. Are we clear? A pause. Excellent. He ended the call and turned to face her fully. His eyes traveled over her appearance, once, quickly, professionally. You look nervous. I am nervous, sir. Don't be. You're here because your daughter has better judgment than most adults I know. He moved to his desk and gestured for her to sit. Today you observe. Watch everything. Ask questions. Learn how I work. Yes, sir. And Keisha. Sir. Stop calling me sir every sentence. Tae-hyun is fine when we're alone. Her eyes widened. I don't think. I don't care what you think. I care what I tell you to do. But there was no heat in his voice. Almost like he was testing her. Say it. Say what? My name. Keisha's heart hammered. This felt dangerous. Intimate in a way that made her skin prickle. Tae-hyun, she forced out. His expression didn't change, but something flashed in his eyes. Satisfaction, maybe. Better. Now, we have 4 meetings today. 2 with legitimate business partners. 2 with people who would kill me if they thought they could get away with it. Your job is to take notes and watch body language. Tell me afterward what you noticed. You want me to analyze people? Your daughter saw something in me that no one else sees. I'm curious if you inherited that same instinct. Hit that subscribe button, because this story is about to get intense. The first meeting was with a tech CEO who kept glancing at Keisha like she was a bomb that might explode. Tae-hyun negotiated a partnership deal worth billions of won without raising his voice once. He was smooth, calculated, terrifying in his precision. The second meeting was with an older man covered in tattoos, Yakuza, Keisha realized with ice in her veins. They spoke in a mixture of Korean and Japanese. Tae-hyun's entire demeanor changed. Harder, colder, more dangerous. When the man left, Tae-hyun turned to her. "What did you notice?" Keisha hesitated. "The tech CEO was afraid of you, but the Yakuza boss respected you. There's a difference." "Go on." "The CEO kept looking at me because he was trying to figure out our relationship. If I'm someone important to you, he'll use that. The Yakuza boss never looked at me once. He already knew I was irrelevant to the negotiation." Tae-hyun's lips curved. "Not bad. What else?" "The tech CEO is going to try to renegotiate in 3 months. He agreed too easily. And the Yakuza boss is planning something." He kept touching his ring, a nervous tell. Tae-hyun leaned back in his chair, studying her with new interest. "You're observant. I'm a single mother. You learn to read people when your survival depends on it." "Indeed." He stood up. "We're done for the day. Go check on Elise." Keisha blinked. "It's only 2 p.m. And you've done more than I expected. Go. Be with your daughter." She didn't need to be told twice. But as she reached the door, his voice stopped her. "Keisha." She turned. Tae-hyun stood by the window again, backlit by the afternoon sun. For a moment, he looked almost lonely. "Thank you," he said quietly. "For what?" "For not running. Most people would have." Keisha thought about that for a moment. Then she smiled, small but genuine. "Most people don't have a baby who apparently thinks you're some kind of teddy bear." His laugh was unexpected, brief, but real. "Get out of here before I assign you more work." The weeks that followed fell into a strange rhythm. Keisha learned the business, both the legitimate side and the parts that existed in shadows. She sat in meetings with gang leaders and corporate executives. She watched Tae-hyun command rooms with nothing but his presence. And every evening, he stopped by the apartment to see Elise. "She's growing," he observed one night, crouching down as Elise toddled toward him on unsteady legs. She grabbed his finger, laughing. "She's walking." Keisha exclaimed. "Tae-hyun, she just—" "I see." His voice was soft, reverent. He scooped Elise up, and she immediately patted his face with her tiny hands. "Look at you, getting so strong." Keisha's heart did something complicated in her chest. "You're good with her," she said quietly. "I had a sister once. She was small like this." His jaw tightened. "A long time ago." "What happened?" "She died. I couldn't protect her." The words hung in the air like smoke. "I'm sorry," Keisha whispered. "Don't be. It made me what I am." He looked at Elise, something raw and painful crossing his face. "But your daughter, she doesn't see what I am. She just sees me. Maybe that's because she knows who you actually are." Tae-hyun's eyes met hers. "And who is that?" "I'm still figuring that out." Comment below. Do you think there's something romantic brewing here? Everything changed on a Tuesday. Keisha was reviewing contracts in Tae-hyun's office when Seo-jun burst through the door, gun already drawn. "Boss, we have a problem. Kim's crew just—" The window exploded. Glass rained down like deadly snow. Keisha screamed as Tae-hyun dove across the desk, slamming into her, dragging her to the floor. His body covered hers completely as bullets tore through the office. "Stay down," he roared. More gunfire. Shouting. The sound of cars screeching outside. Tae-hyun was on his phone instantly. "Hwang. Secure the baby. Now." He looked down at Keisha, his face inches from hers. "Are you hurt?" She shook her head, too shocked to speak. "Good." He rolled off her, a gun appearing in his hand like magic. Seo-jun perimeter. 3 vehicles. Kim's men. They're not leaving until... Another explosion. Closer this time. "They're coming inside," Tae-hyun said calmly. Too calmly. He grabbed Keisha's face, forcing her to look at him. "Listen to me very carefully. You're going to crawl to that door. You're going to run to your apartment. You're going to lock yourself and Elise in the panic room. The code is 0815. Do you understand? What about you?" "I'll handle this. Now move." Tae-hyun. "Move." Keisha crawled. Glass cut her palms. her knees. She didn't care. She just needed to get to Elise. Behind her, she heard Tae-hyun's voice drop into something that wasn't quite human. You just made the last mistake of your lives. Then gunfire erupted like thunder. Keisha ran faster than she'd ever run in her life. Burst into the apartment where Ms. Huang already had Elise in her arms, both of them heading for the reinforced back room. Inside, Ms. Huang commanded. The panic room was small but secure. Steel walls. No windows. Ms. Huang punched in a code, and the door sealed with a heavy thunk. Elise was crying. Keisha grabbed her, holding her tight, rocking her. "It's okay, baby. It's okay. Mama's here." But outside, the gunfire continued. Screaming. Explosions. And Keisha realized with absolute certainty that if Tae-hyun died tonight, something inside her would break. "Please," she whispered into Elise's ear. "Please let him be okay." 20 minutes felt like 20 hours. When the door finally opened, Keisha nearly collapsed with relief. Tae-hyun stood there, covered in blood. Some his, mostly not. His suit was torn. His face was cut. But he was alive. "You're safe," he said. Not a question. A statement that needed confirmation. "We're fine. Are you?" He crossed the space between them in 2 strides and pulled both her and Elise into his arms. Just held them, shaking slightly. "I'm sorry," he breathed into her hair. "I'm so sorry. This is my world. My danger. You shouldn't." "Stop." Keisha pulled back just enough to look at him. "We're okay. You protected us. I put you in danger." "No. Kim did. And I'm guessing Kim's not a problem anymore." Tae-hyun's expression went dark. "He's not." Elise reached out, touching the cut on Tae-hyun's cheek. Her little face scrunched up with concern. "Owie," she said clearly. Her first word. Tae-hyun froze. "She." Her first word. Keisha gasped. "Owie," Elise repeated, patting his face gently. "Ovie." Something in Tae-hyun's expression crumbled. He pulled Elise close, closing his eyes. "I'm okay, little one. I'm okay." And watching them, this dangerous man and her innocent daughter, Keisha finally understood. Elise hadn't seen a monster. She'd seen someone who needed saving just as much as they did. "Tae-hyun," Keisha said softly. He looked at her. Really looked at her. "Stay," he said. Not a command. A plea. "Both of you. Stay with me. Let me protect you. Let me." His voice cracked. "Let me be something other than a monster." Keisha reached out, took his bloodied hand in hers. "You already are." Elise giggled and patted both their faces. "Owie," she announced proudly. "All better." And somehow, impossibly it was. 6 months later. "She's running." Keisha called out, chasing Elise through the mansion's garden. The toddler shrieked with laughter, her pigtails bouncing as she ran straight toward. "I've got her." Tae-hyun swept Elise into his arms, spinning her around as she giggled uncontrollably. He'd traded his suit for jeans and a casual shirt. The scars on his face had faded but never fully disappeared. Neither had the darkness in his world. But Elise, stubborn, beautiful Elise, had brought light into it anyway. "You're spoiling her," Keisha said, but she was smiling. "That's my job," Tae-hyun replied, pressing a kiss to Elise's forehead before turning those dark eyes on Keisha. "And you, spoiling both of you, is my job." "Is that in my official job description?" "I'll add it." He kissed her then, soft and sweet, while Elise clapped her hands between them. "More," Elise demanded. More kisses. They laughed, and for a moment, the world wasn't dangerous or dark or complicated. It was just them. A broken man who found redemption in an infant's trust. A desperate woman who found safety in the arms of danger. And a baby who never saw monsters, only the man inside. So what do you think? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Was this the love story you were expecting? Like this video if you want to see more stories like this. And subscribe because we've got even more incredible content coming your way. Until next time, remember, sometimes the most unexpected bonds are the ones that save us.